but yeah, that was my side hustle to make money so I could travel. Okay, so I know we don't have enough time because this topic is not small, but we'll try and touch different aspects so that we can keep your attention and eagerness on. So why don't you kick it off?
Thank you, Ashish, and thank you and welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to this session after lunch. So, so let me start off by talking about what we are hearing from our leaders in the banking space, the people who are not into technology, not into analytics, not into AI. What are they asking? So one of the things, I've been doing analytics for over 20 years now, and every time we have tried to push projects, one of the things is that many times it's not the biggest priority, many times the money is needed somewhere else. It is not always the shiniest ball in the boardroom. That is not the case with AI. All leaders want to invest money, especially after the Gen AI push. But where are they wanting to invest the money at the moment, right? At least in banks, and you've heard case studies, and I can rattle off and will talk about that, a few of them. But essentially, at least there is a lot of expectation on value add. According to some McKinsey report I recently read, it claims that analytics, ML, traditional deep learning is adding some 11 to 18 trillion value to the world economy. That's like six times India's GDP, 18 trillion, right? And it is supposed to go up by almost 50% because of the addition of Gen AI. That's it, right? But the interesting thing is that two-thirds of that value is getting generated by productivity, by making tasks that people are doing, including tasks that technologists are doing, analysts are doing, more efficient. And only one-third of that is coming out of specifically doing fraud detection better or some other thing. So a lot of the focus is on automation, whether it is document creation, whether it is regulatory reporting, whether it is any of that. The other broad thing is around chatbots, whether it is for customers where wealth managers can access multiple reports through a chatbot, or it is directly to the customers where you have smart IVRs or smart chatbots. Then and you must have heard of this, right? Then this gets into a little bit more specific cases, fraud detection, AML, massive amounts of use of AI in that space. Into newer areas like data governance, anomaly detection is being used massively in data governance at the moment. So that is a big area that's getting into. And then the old, the traditional personalization of marketing and sales reach outs, with the only addition of content generation also getting more automated because of AI or Gen AI specifically. So this is where people are looking for. But the main thing I want to leave all of you with is more than specific use cases. Boardroom leaders are looking for us to use this technology to create productivity in the firm. Almost a third they are expecting potential productivity in the firm. I leave it there. There is a lot more we can talk about. And Ashish has a lot more of background in the technology space. So Ashish, how are you guys thinking in technology about this technology?
Uh, you covered the use cases, so I'll go towards the reality part of it. It's shiny, it's bright, everyone wants it. But then the noose starts to tighten in 1 year. You sit in front of CFOs, CTOs, and then it gets difficult where is the ROI, right? I think one thing that we have learned quickly, I would say, is don't just go behind everything that's been talked about. First, look inwards, what is really relevant for your organization. Second, are you even mature at the tech stack level and even at the people and policies and procedure level, that can you really bring something that could be this intrusive to create a lot of havoc? So for us, it's more like slow, learn, grow, and that's where we are. we do not have anything which is hitting outside the market. It's more internal. I think we are driving more developers' productivity using co-pilots. We are using it very internally to create knowledge bases and stuff like that. But we do not have anything which is retail front, which is where customers could directly start interacting with us on the GenAI side. AI is anyways deep and wide in organization, but you cannot label that as GenAI. There's a lot of caution around how much really can you expose in terms of data, your intellectual property. Are you ready to let it go out in the market? And, there's more sorrow than glory in this space as of today. That's what we think. Having said that, I'll just bounce it back to you. How do you think analytics world, or how do you think it's taken in your organization? I mean, what's been one of the key challenges, I would say?
So I think the biggest challenge I would say is that analytics world, and this is really probably a lot of addresses a lot of people here, is very gung ho about the technology to use it on other departments, right? I will automate document creation. I will, do something for operations. I will do something for marketing. They're not gung ho at all about automating their own value chain, even though the analytics value chain is highly automatable. Again, on many reports, you would see banking is one of it's actually the second most impacted, potentially impacted by AI, and analytics is kind of included in the software development. Analytics is the first most impacted department within that space, right? By the way, the first most impacted industry is technology itself, right? Obviously. So coming back, I think the big takeaway for me is we are not thinking about how we use it to make ourselves productive. Do you think dashboard making is going to look like doing low code, no code work in Tableau anymore? Or is it going to look like getting a picture made out of DALL-E? How that feels like today. You give some command, it comes, and then you say, make it a little brighter or something like that. It's going to change. We have done some work and we are seeing almost a third time can be saved. There is a lot of work which has gone in by external agencies around how much of automation is possible in code development versus code refactoring versus business analysis. I think the main thing that I want to say is that we in the analytics departments are talking a lot about how to use it for others. We are not applying it enough to ourselves.
That's a good point. I just wanted to bring one other aspect. I think what gets overlooked is total cost of ownership. We don't look at the investments that we make in standing up an automation, which is more expensive than actually throwing away for most part. And what I mean by that is, if a process is already heavy on cognitive compute from a human side, it's not easy to just do a like-to-like flip. You will still have to have human in loop to get the right returns out of it. Imagine you're printing a fact sheet for an organization and if that messes up, you will be in use all over the world for no reason. So, total cost of ownership, human in loop, I think there's some of the combinations that you try from change management perspective, which sticks well is what I would say from my experience. So let's cover a couple of other things we wanted to cover, which is around driving this change, right? Like what have been your experiences in the larger firm, maybe talking about it, but how much are they doing and how do you push that change? Good question. I burned on someone else's cost, learned, and fixed it somewhere else. Again, change management of tech intervention, tech-led transformation, or tech-driven human-led transformation, change management becomes absolutely critical. These are interlocks that we don't really follow well. We do prepare nice governance structure, we prepare spreadsheets with checklists and whatnot, we have our toll gate reviews, but then are we really emphasizing on whether this change is a pull or a push? Everyone wants to transfer. Trust me, the business head who's running a P&L pressure, margin pressure, commission pressure, also wants productivity, but are we keeping them in loop right from the beginning? Or are we doing, working backwards here in wrong sense, not in right sense, where we are creating a solution without having them in the room and then trying to push it down their throat, saying, hey, now that we have developed it, corporate has spent money, now we use it. But that's not fit for purpose. And that's where you start to see trust dropping in strategy, transformation, and tech. What's worked for us in primarily the change management space is keep your stakeholders pretty close. Have a smaller cycle of terror. Don't wait for 6 months to show it to them, because the way market is shifting, the way customers are shifting, what's relevant today is absolutely not even required day after. So keep a shorter delivery cycle. Keep customers, stakeholders, internal, external part of your innovation cycle. Don't just innovate in silos, because that's going to cost you long. So that's been my experience.
Yeah, I'll add only one point. I think one thing that has not changed is lead with use case. Don't go and say, I will build you Gen AI capability. Don't go and say, I will build you this platform which can assist all your calling agents. Lead with a use case, articulate impact, be more specific. And once that specific sells to the business, they will fund all the stuff that you have to do in the backend. So that's the only thing I would add to that. So let's turn our final kind of thoughts to the GCCs itself. So Ashish, your thoughts on supposedly GCCs can be a big catalyst for any change, any innovative change, definitely this change. So what should we at GCCs be doing to drive this change, whether in aspects of talent or in aspects of capability, or in aspects of influencing our parent businesses? Your thoughts?
Not supposedly, I think we have proven that, right? So if you look at the evolution of GCC, back office, middle office, front office, now technology, transformation, whatnot, right? You talk about it, and there are some GCCs who are proving it really, really well. But what we are not seeing is the hard work that has gone behind having a seat on the team, right? The winning that trust. And I'll tell you from some personal examples where you have a senior stakeholder coming down, meeting you, and the most common question is, oh, we are not seen equal. We are always given modules to work. Product strategy is not here. We never think about GCC as front runner in terms of product tech and market, products and stuff like that. But what we miss is, are you really ready to take such roles? Do you have that organizational maturity, talent, strategy to support that? Will you be able to lead it? I think those questions need to be answered first before you go and demand a seat on the table. What works well and has worked in terms of examples is you start small, get a module, prove that you can do it from there, show that maturity, and be ready to take that risk. What we have seen in most of the GCCs, people don't stick out their neck to take risks. I'm very comfortable, I've been told to do this, I'll do this, I'm happy. I'm not saying everyone does it, but there are very few leaders who actually stick their neck out and take risks. Hey, why don't you challenge me on this one? Let me do this for you, and then we'll build from here. I think that's necessary. So you build trust, show smaller returns, and then be a consultant on the table. It's more they trusting you as against you going and asking that, take me to that maturity curve where I am doing product strategy for you.
And I'll add a couple of things and then re-emphasize what he said too, because we're coming towards the end. So a couple of things. I think firstly, technology as it is advancing, including Gen AI, is blurring the lines within the subparts of a GCC. What's technology, what's analytics, what's operation is getting blurred. How can we, and GCCs, very few have done that integration well. How can we integrate at least at a project level across? That's very important. Secondly, think adjacencies. How much are we doing around data governance? How much are we doing about automating, let's say, different sorts of PPT production in the company? A lot of this is possible. We are not possibly thinking as much about it. We are still thinking within the boxes of the use cases that we have been doing traditionally. And then finally, just the same thought that he gave, which is lead from here, right? We have to understand our business and be, if I put it crudely, a bit of a salespeople about this, a change agent, about companies adopting these kind of changes. So I think that is very, very critical, and that's a skill we need to build more in our GCCs.
Let me just last point. Don't oversell. I think what's happening is the beer is sold and you're selling it again. And that creates a lot of unnecessary noise and friction. You are the arm of that company any which ways. So just don't go over selling, build trust, things will come. Thank you.